Hi, I'm Jen Mulrow, the Community Engagement Manager at College Fashionista, and I am here today with Christine Flammia, the Associate Style Editor at Esquire, and Sandra Nygaard, the Fashion Director of Men's Health, and we are going to be talking all things fashion and publishing today. So thank you guys for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We have some questions from our community members. So what would you guys say, you guys are writing like multiple stories a day digitally and monthly. How do you keep coming up with fresh new content?
Well, it's a good question. Yeah. For me, it's like with all of the market appointments, I kind of get an idea of like what's trending and like what's happening in a very basic way with fashion. Mm-hmm. But also it's like kind of being very like culturally connected. Mm-hmm. And things don't exist in a vacuum. It's like fashion is a response to anything that's going on in the world. In times of crisis and in times of if things aren't doing very well financially, then suddenly there'll be a lot more of like very simple back to basics looks. I mean, fashion is so cyclical, mm-hmm. and it's also informed by the culture. The
fashion industry is known to be really competitive. How can somebody stand out?
People stand out for me, and I'm probably really old school. But if someone is if they work really hard, or if they show initiative, if they have a great attitude, it's not even to me it's not what someone wears, or how nice their hair is, or like what kind of stuff they have, or like anything that for some people in the fashion community like that's really important, or where they went on vacation. To me it's like I'm so interested in like an interesting and well-rounded person who works really hard and shows initiative and has great ideas.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be perfect all the time, but like someone who's curious and really wants to learn and grow, like that to me is amazing.
Right.
And if someone came in, and whether they were an intern or someone applying for a job, and they showed any of those things, I'd say, I want to talk with you.
Right. You want them on your team.
Yeah.
Those are the people. Make your life easier too.
Nobody entitled at all.
Exactly.
I feel like being an intern is kind of like a trial run for like what you're actually going to do. Like you're still, your next job, you're still going to be creating content for like the senior editor. Not to say you don't get to do your own stuff, but there is kind of always a vision. Right. And I think just like always taking initiative and making their lives easier is it's more important than anything else.
Yeah, for each position that you're in.
Right.
Truly, because we will find our interns jobs. If someone has like a great attitude,
they will.
They will. If we can't hire them, I will find them a job.
In this industry, it's definitely very important to have a good network. I think that a lot of people find jobs through people who they've worked with before. But for somebody who has no connections, do you guys think that like cold emails still work? How do you approach that?
It depends. Like if it's just kind of like a really vague one, that then I don't. But if it's like someone who puts a little bit of time into it, or asks questions, or like has done their research again, like you did this story and I really liked it and I was wondering blah blah blah. Because I've been there before. When I first got out of J school, I was going to the magazine store and picking up magazines and looking down the masthead and deciding who I wanted to reach out to. And I'd always reach out to someone a little bit lower in the masthead because they could still remember what it was like to be me.
Right.
And surprisingly, I would get coffees with people, and people would respond to me. And I even got a couple of freelance assignments from it. So I think it's writing a really well-crafted and very specific letter, or email, but also not being like maybe writing another one to them again, like following up or something. Don't be annoying, but don't stalk me. But just kind of like the follow-up. And then like not being discouraged if that person doesn't write back to you. Just like have a list. Just be tireless.
And now finally some rapid fire questions.
Dun, dun, dun.
What excites you most about your job? Sandra?
Just the variety of it. There are moments where I get like down because I'm like in an office, and then like next week, I'm like on a cover shoot in Malibu at like some fabulous house, and I'm putting clothing on a celebrity. It's just like, this is my job. Like, let me never complain again. And then next week I'm like, oh, this job. But the sheer variety of it makes it really interesting.
I think just like getting to talk to people, like I've always just loved like interesting people who do cool things. Like when I was in school, like I just talked to people. I went to school in Gainesville, which is in the middle of nowhere, Florida, and I was like, I'm gonna talk to everybody here. And now I'm in New York, and everybody here is like cooler. Sorry, Gainesville. And so that's really exciting to me because like I would do that wherever I was, but being here and working at Esquire, I have like access to things and people I couldn't have had otherwise.
And if you could tell your college self one thing, what would it be?
I would have been like, take those internships. Like
I would have been like,
Christine
take a Xanax.
Yeah, totally. Take a Xanax and an internship. I honestly think I would have like chopped off at least 5 to 7 years of my professional life in a good way. Like my resume would be a lot shorter had I just figured out, go into journalism.
I would say like learn to meditate or do something that's like breathe. Yeah. But also I would say like I don't regret anything that I did. And I think like while I was doing it, a lot of people would be like, oh wow, like that's a lot. And I'd be like, you don't know my life, whatever. And I think just like being confident in like what I was doing, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna act like it. Like I wasn't acting it on the inside. I was like, I have no idea if this is correct or not. But I think just kind of owning that a little bit more and being like, you know what, if this isn't right, I'll figure it out. Like I'm doing as much as I can. So I think just like having a little bit more confidence in like not being so terrified of the future. Like I feel like so I did that because everyone was like, your industry's dying, there are no jobs. That's not true. Your job might change. It might be, you might write about something else, you might write for a different platform. But like everybody's gonna need a writer. There's going to be jobs. You might have to be flexible in that dream, but that it will still exist in some capacity. So I think just like taking a deep breath, like knowing it's all okay, you don't have to figure it out right this second, would have been good for me to, of course, if I told myself that, 18-year-old me would be like, whatever, you don't know. But I'd like to think so.
Like be open to that journey because it does, like it
Everything
turns,
builds. Yeah.
it twists and turns. Don't think like, I want to be a beauty editor at this, magazine, which a lot of people do. They have like, a goal in sight, and that's great. But you'd be surprised, like if you just kind of open yourself up and you figure, because things are changing already for you, and just like just go on a little meandering path. That's okay too.
Well, thank you guys so much. I think this has been super insightful, and our community is going to get a lot out of this. So if you guys have any questions for Sandra or Christine, you can email us at membership@collegefashionista.com.